The following podcast has been rated PGN. Parental guidance is neglected.
Boy, it's been a long time since we've had a little father-son chat.
I am your father.
Father, if you can hear me, I failed.
Don't let your mother smell that beer on your breath. She'll take it out on me.
I'm here with my dad.
I know what you're gonna say, son. And you're right. You're right.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
I've abandoned my boy!
Hey everyone, welcome back.
Why do you sound so down? What the hell?
Why do I sound so down?
I just said, why don't you do the intro? And then you said, okay. And then you're like, hey. Wow. Sorry, I didn't mean it. Why don't you try?
Listen.
Let's go again. And take two.
Hey everyone.
Yeah, that's worse.
Back.
That's even worse.
No, listen.
Are you sick?
No, I just didn't do as good as I was hoping. That's what I'll say.
You just weren't.
I got kind of.
Oh, you're
clobbered.
already jumping into post-Oscar.
And I'm not even upset about maybe or maybe not losing to you.
Right.
But my girlfriend who saw 4 films this year crushed me.
Yeah.
In the Oscars tournament.
The Oscar, you guys
crushed me.
Hey everybody, welcome to the PGN podcast. We're getting right into lamenting my poor son, who I think we all knew. I think anyone who listened to the show and heard your picks last week predicted what's happening right now.
In my defense, the Oscars universally always gets a couple of them wrong, and I feel like they didn't this time around. Yeah. And so I feel like I'm getting punished for trying to predict the Oscars doing Oscar things, and they didn't do Oscar things.
We got a lot to talk about with the Academy Awards. The fact that Jackson laid an egg, the fact that his girlfriend predicted more correct films than him. Of course, we got new movie reviews as always coming up a little bit later in the show. But since you brought it up, I'll tell you, Jackson. Remember, it's not. You can see none of these films, but you might have an idea of who's going to win. See, remember, sometimes I think seeing the films clouds your judgment on who will win because you're like, man, I love
but
that
she was
movie
getting
so
the
much.
stupid live action short and documentary stuff right, and I was like, you don't even know. You've never seen those. I've never seen those.
Wow. Did she just throw a dart at the wall or kind of?
Yeah.
It's the PGN podcast. Parental Guidance is Neglected. Father and son talking all things movies and whatnot. We're gonna have reviews coming up a little bit later of 2 of the big films that open this weekend: Scream and 65 with Adam Driver, as well as Jackson's pick from last week, the Irish prison film Hunger from Steve McQueen, as well as preview of what's coming up next week. But I guess we'll jump right into it. We're how many hours now? This is Tuesday, so we're about 48 hours removed from the Academy Awards.
Yes.
Before we go into the specifics, what did you just think of the show overall, Jackson? Did you watch all of it? Did you just see the highlights? What did you do?
We watched all of it. We were watching live. I missed I missed all the opening stuff. I cut in right when the award started because I just ABC was doing this weird thing where it was like, oh, stream the Oscars on ABC, and so I was watching the pre-show, and then after the pre-show, it started playing a murder documentary, and I was like, what's happening?
Oh.
So I had to scramble to find someone's login for some cable network to get access to the Oscars, which was super weird. But
so you missed Kimmel's opening monologue then.
I did miss Kimmel's opening monologue.
He did a lot of jokes about Will Smith, and apparently that's the one thing ABC did not want him to mention. So I will give him...
You couldn't not mention it.
He mentioned it many times throughout the entire telecast. He kept coming back, but he definitely hit it head on. I thought Kimmel did a pretty good job. I think there was a couple little flubs, but mostly he stayed out of the way. I think the cocaine bear thing was a little dumb, but it is what it is.
Yeah. There's always one of those.
But what did you think of the show? I mean, overall, was it worse than usual? It's fine.
Well, I mean, from a show perspective, I think it was fine. I'm not the biggest Jimmy Kimmel fan, so I wasn't like, oh my god, thank God they got Kimmel.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I thought, I actually thought that some of the performances were really good, and the ones that I was actually gunning for live weren't actually sounding so great to me.
Okay, let's jump into it since you brought it. I don't know. Maybe I need to see the movie again and hear the song in different context. That might have been the worst performance in the history of the Academy Awards.
The problem is that song is originally performed by two people, or three, I guess. It's Son Lux, who did the score, it's David Byrne from Talking Heads, and it's a girl named Mitski, who's a very popular music artist. Mitski didn't show up. So Stephanie Sue from the film is the one singing "This Is a Life" from Everything Everywhere in the show, and I thought, and Mitski has a great voice, and when they were like, and Stephanie Sue, I was like, oh wait, where's Mitski? And I think that's where I kind of fell apart a little bit, was just like not having everyone there.
Okay,
and
you could have had Whitney Houston singing that song. It would not have masked, and I'm a big Talking Heads fan. David Byrne sounded so horrible. We're talking about the performance of "This Is a Life" from Everything Everywhere All at Once, which, as good as Gaga was Sunday night, even though I don't like that song, and I thought Rihanna was good as well, even the chick who sang Applause, I had never heard of the movie or the song, I thought it was fine. But the David Byrne performance was a train wreck I was like,
it's just not a song that's meant to be performed that way. I think. I think it was a really weird. I mean, I know they do all the songs,
right,
but like of all the songs, that was like the one that was set up to fail, just because it's like it's not that kind of song. I feel like.
Wow. And you really thought that was gonna win, huh? That was your pick to win.
It's a really good song, and it's got David Byrne and Mitski in it. It's not like I'm pulling some random pick out of my ass.
Wow. Well, that something went horribly wrong at that dress rehearsal, or I don't know, but it was not good. And of course, not to won. I told you that was going to. Got a standing ovation when they did it. And did you see his acceptance speech? The guy was hilarious.
Yeah, where he sang.
Yeah,
he was very funny.
Yeah, it's probably dated for you, but he was doing pretty much a Carpenter song, old song from the 70s that only your parents would know. But yeah, he was cute. Acceptance speeches, that was pretty funny with the Carpenters. What did you think? Who had the best one? I mean, is it a no-brainer? Or was it
Kiwi Kwan had the best?
Right.
It's not even in the competition. Like he got up there, and that was the. Yeah. He stole the night from me, man. I thought he had a great speech. I thought Jamie Lee Curtis had a great speech.
Yeah.
I thought that Brendan Fraser had a great speech.
Brendan Fraser sounded like he had just run a marathon, though. I don't know. He was just breathing so heavy it almost took something away. I mean,
he kind of just talks like that. Like,
does he?
I've noticed in interviews and stuff that he kind of has that very like airy, okay.
Yeah.
He kind of does
very
that, like,
airy,
very breathy.
And
voice,
he might have had
him.
one too many like water references. Like everything was like the depths of her talent and the seafaring ability of
so good,
like
though.
Everything was like a tie-in to The Whale. I was like, okay, but it was good. And happy to see Michelle Yeoh win, even though you picked Cate Blanchett.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely. I still wanted her to win. No, that was a great acceptance speech. I love when they sang "Happy Birthday" to the guy who won documentary. I think it was documentary short.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Or best short film. It was The Irish Goodbye.
Yeah,
that was really great.
That was a lot.
I thought this was a really great year for speeches, honestly. I thought everyone did. I didn't think anyone really flubbed it.
I don't think they played anybody off either.
They did. They played the hair and makeup team off. And there was some upsetting about that because dude really barely got 5 words out, and they played like they really cut him off right at the start of it. So, yeah. Have you heard a little bit of the drama happening with the Angela Bassett and the reaction to her loss?
No, I mean, Angela Bassett was my pick to win. It was a little bit of a surprise that Jamie Lee Curtis beat her, even though I don't have a problem with it. I think, actually, if it wasn't my pick, Carrie Condon was the one I would have voted for. But what's the controversy? Did I look?
Okay, you have completely cut out for me. I kept on waiting for it to come back.
Am I back now? Hello?
I can hear your voice, but you're still frozen.
Oh. Well, that's because I have a shitty computer and I need to update
I can't
it.
hear you at all now.
Okay. What should I do on my end?
I can hear you now. Are you?
I'm right here. Hello?
Okay, I think you're back. You're back.
All right. Wow, you're gonna get a lot of editing in this one, aren't you? We were talking about the controversy that you're mentioning about Angela Bassett not winning. I haven't heard anything about that. I know she was favored to win.
You're completely gone again.
Okay, am I gone audio or am I gone video or both?
I can't. If you're talking right now, I can't hear anything you're saying.
I'm talking. You can't hear a thing. Let me see. Do you want me to log off and we try to do this again?
I'm getting like one word at a time. It's kind of just coming in and out.
All right. What about now? Checking. 1, 2, 3.
If you can hear me, try leaving the call and coming back.
Okay. I'm going to try leaving the call. Okay, here I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're back. Yeah, you're back now.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's gonna play really well on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see how that turns out.
Wow, your job just got really complicated. I have no idea what's going on my end, but do I sound clear now?
Yeah, you sound fine now.
All right, well, let's enjoy the next 4 minutes then before it all cuts out again. You were talking about some kind of controversy about Angela Bassett not winning. Now, I know she was favored to win. I thought she was going to. It was my pick. I'm not upset with Jamie Lee Curtis winning, but what's the controversy?
It wasn't about her not winning. It was her reaction to losing.
Wow.
Immediately after, like they announced Jamie Lee, and you know how usually it's like but the person wins and the losers all kind of go, like the
claps,
the applause and stuff.
Uh-huh.
She kind of just did like a, like she was not having it, and that you know what, that always leaves kind of a sour taste in my mouth because I mean, yeah, it's disappointing to win not to win, but at the end of the day, you're nominated for an Oscar. You know, that's someone who I think was very deserving of an award at the end of the day. Why not? I think it's in your best interest to clap for everybody. I think that's really I don't know.
That's really weird because she had one of the cutest moments of the night when they cut to her and she was holding Austin Butler's hand when they were doing Best Actor, like giving him support, which is what I have actually heard the most about with Angela Bassett afterwards.
Really? I hadn't heard about that either. So
yeah, they were announcing the nominees, and she was like holding his hand sweetly, like, oh, you know, like comforting him.
Yeah.
Or maybe she's just holding his hand because it's Austin Butler. I don't know. Yeah, that was one of the upsets of the night. As far as other upsets go, speaking of which, I picked Austin Butler, and I knew that was wrong.
I don't know why you did that. I didn't think that was...
To be honest with you, though, I mean, I'm glad Brendan Fraser won, but I thought Colin Farrell was the one that I should have picked at first. I was like, oh, I wish I had picked Colin. I would have lost either way. So Brendan was third on my list. Yeah. Other, like, big upsets. I mean, you picked Cate Blanchett, but I think you knew going in that was bad. Neither one of us got...
All Quiet...
Yeah,
pretty much swept all the technicals.
Yeah, we were the dummies.
Which
you're not
I'm
happy
so
with?
mad at myself because I even said, I was like, every time there's a war movie nominated, they sweep the technical awards, and I didn't put any faith into it.
Nope.
And they took sound, they took production design, they took cinematography. Listen, Babylon 0 wins.
Yeah,
so
listen, I'm
not saying anything. I'm just wiping my hands of that information.
Yeah, I thought Babylon. We both had Babylon to win 3 different Academy Awards.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I don't think any other big, huge shockers. I knew Women Talking was going to win screenplay, and I thought Sarah Polley gave a great speech.
Yeah.
We both got Banshees for screenplay. But anyways, final tally: Jackson got 9 correct, and. Hold on a second. It's going to take me a second to add all these up. Carry the 7.
15. 15.
No, 14. You got 14 wrong. 9 right, 14 wrong.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying how many you got right.
No, I got 15 right and 8 wrong. So actually, probably one of my worst showings in a while. 15 is not good for me, but and Fire Love didn't win documentary. I knew Navalny. I got that. Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about Navalny, but I knew the second. You know what? I knew the second they were showing those clips. I was like, oh god damn it! That's gonna win,
that's political and timely. And
there was so many times where I was like just watching him go by, and I was like, oh, I got this so wrong.
Yeah.
Just movies that I'd heard of that I just forgot about, or just I don't know. I was like, oh Jesus,
Right.
that was a bad pick.
Yeah. So, there you have it, the Oscars. I was trying to think if there's anything else you know what I noticed that I wanted to point out? And I even mentioned this to your mom when we were watching it. I swear to God, if one more person thanked their mother but didn't thank their father, I was like, everything was like, Mom, and Mom did this, and to my mom, and I'm like, where the hell are the dads? And then finally, the last award of the night, when everything won, the producer of that movie got up and he thanked his dad.
Yeah.
And that I was like, finally. It was like a mom love fest up there. I was like, what the hell?
That's so funny.
So basically what I'm saying to you is, should you ever find yourself in that position, you know what I'll be waiting for.
You know, I did just hear a statistic the other day while we were watching. Someone brought this to my attention that the two most thanked people at the Oscars are God and Harvey Weinstein.
Are God and Harvey... Shut up. Are you serious?
I'm being dead serious.
Hold on. I'm being interrupted. I don't know if it's important. What?
Oh, God.
Oh, it's your mother just eavesdropping, saying she's very happy if you'll one day thank her instead of me. So...
okay.
I'm
glad that we've made my career into a competition.
How about this? How about this? Yeah, I know. How about this? You can thank both of us, but how about Dad? How about my father and my mother? It's always Mom and Dad. How about Dad and Mom? I don't know why Mom comes first. Dad's like an afterthought. It's always like, oh, I think my mom, and my dad. He was around.
Oh, so. I did think it was cool when Daniel Scheinert, the first time they won, I think it was for screenplay, came up and thanked all of his high school teachers.
Yeah, that was kind of neat.
Thought was helpful. That was really neat too, I thought.
What do you think's next for them? Do you know? Is there if you go to IMDb, is it in production? Or
I have no idea. I haven't heard anything. I think that right now they're just really sinking. Although, did you see I don't know if you knew this because you were watching live, but did you see there's a trailer for a movie? It's like it looks like a samurai kind of thing, and it's got Michelle Yeoh, Ke Huy Quan, and Stephanie Sue in it.
No. I fast forward
over
commercials.
Another movie.
They are?
Yeah,
huh.
I mean, it's not with the Daniels or anything, but it's the same. It's like the same cast. I was like, what the heck? That's the same family.
Odd. Huh.
Listen, I'm just happy Keith's getting work right now. Let's be honest. I was really worried for him, so I'm just glad he's in something else.
And, also one of the best moments was him hugging Harrison Ford when they won the best. It's all over the internet. You're seeing the memes of them
so
hugging
great.
when he was a little kid and now hugging now. So that was very cool that Harrison Ford gave him and the whole team the best Oscar. So there you have it.
I knew you knew the second he walked out. It's like, he's not going to give that award.
Yeah. Harrison
fucking
Ford.
Top Gun.
He's there to give it to... Yeah. I know here's one thing that I caught. Did you catch this? When Guillermo del Toro won the Academy Award for Pinocchio for Best Animated Film, he was already up on the stage right behind the curtain ready to walk out.
Yeah, what was up with that?
So I'm like,
I did notice that.
Yeah, I was like, this is a theory. My theory is he does not move very quickly. He has a hard time walking. I mean, I saw him at a Q&A for Pinocchio not too recently. I have a feeling they gave him the heads up. Listen, you are going to win. Why don't we get you up on stage so you can come right out? Maybe he doesn't do stairs real well. I don't know, but for some reason, I was like, how did he end up on stage right when they said his name? But there you have it. Pinocchio. The Academy Awards. All right, everyone. We'll see you next year. That's...
I will say before we wrap up, for the last couple of years, I've always left with a bad taste in my mouth where I was like, oh, geez, that one movie got snubbed. I feel like this is the first time in a while where I've left being like, yeah, no, that was about right. You know, I wasn't really upset with anyone's.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's anyone who won that I went, are you serious? I mean, I think if I had to pick one, I think Avatar for special effects, as amazing as it was, I still feel it's a little bit been there, done that. So I would have liked to have seen them give that to someone else. But yeah, I think that's it. I mean, I'm obviously furious about best documentary short.
Oh, well, we all are.
No, I don't.
We all are about the elephant movie.
We both picked. I was like, what? Someone's working with elephants? Winner, elephant dinner on that one. The PGN podcast. That's it. Jackson, best of luck to you next year. Please, you have to start voting with your head and not your heart. That's why we do.
I did the opposite this time. I gave Banshees so much. I was like, Banshees could be split, Banshees and everything, and I did. And it was, if I had just gone with my guts, I would have done so much better.
All right. Well, I have faith in you next year. It's the PGN podcast. Parental Guidance is Neglected. 2 generations talking movies. Jackson, I don't think you got out to the theaters this week because you're in college and you are busy studying and midterms and all that fun stuff. I did get out to see a couple films. We'll go over them very quickly. I saw Scream 6. Jackson. How many Screams have you seen? Have you seen any of them?
Just the first one, and
you're not a fan.
Actually, I watched it, and I watched it for the first time with a bunch of my friends on like a couple of days before Halloween.
Oh, okay.
And I cracked a joke towards the end of it, and then the second I said it, I was like, "Oh no, I just spoiled the movie for everybody."
Oh, you did?
I felt really horrible about myself. It was just like
what was the joke? I mean, we all know the killers. It was Skeet Ulrich and the other guy.
Oh my god! It was something about him doing it all for a woman, and the him was
Billy.
implying that Shaggy had done it, or the guy who plays Shaggy, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So tough call on my end. But
they hadn't seen.
I have heard 2 things. I heard that this is getting really good reviews.
It is.
And B, apparently you sat in front of someone I went to elementary school with, because I got a DM being like, "Hey, your dad sat behind us at a screening of Scream 6. And I was
really?
Like, that's so weird.
Why didn't they say hi to me?
I don't know.
Oh.
It had been ages.
Oh. Yeah, I went.
I'll tell you who after. I don't want to put it on blast.
Okay,
but.
yeah, no, I saw. And the other thing too is I went to a screening Thursday night, and I walk in to get my ticket, and the guy's like, "Here you go. You're gonna need these," and he gave me 3D glasses. And I was like, oh, no. Am I going to a 3D screening of this? And it was. And Jackson, 110% pointless. And I must have...
Oh, no.
I mean, the titles were slightly 3D. And that was it. Jackson, that was it. There was multiple times where I took my glasses down to see, like, can I watch this without the glasses? Because it gets kind of blurry. And I was like, no. I put the glasses down. Like, it looks exactly. I'm doing this back and forth, up and down my glasses. So
I feel like 3D is such a novelty act. I don't know.
If it's a movie that's shot in 3D perspective, but
the Avatar looked great in 3D. But
oh my god, what a complete waste to see that in 3D. It's directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette. They did the last Scream, the reboot. They also did that movie Ready or Not a couple years ago. Jenna Ortega is back in this one, as well as Melissa Barrera, who was in the previous one. They drag Courtney Cox back one more time. Is it her last one? I don't know. And Hayden Panettiere is back too. I guess she was in number 3 or number 4. Or I don't follow them all that closely.
One of them. Yeah.
And they also drag Dermot Mulroney into this. Veteran actor from My Best Friend's Wedding and countless other movies. Here's the thing about Scream 6, Jackson. It's more violent. It's darker. It's got even more convoluted twists. It's got loopholes of logic that you just are going to be like, what? Huh? How? But here's the thing about Scream is they tell you that's what they're going to do. I mean, we have a new girl in the film who's kind of taken the Jamie Kennedy role of like dissecting the movie they're in. And the big twist here is, guys, we're not in a movie anymore. We're in a franchise. So with every franchise, you have to up whatever the last one has, and then that's exactly what we see them do. They make it gorier, bloodier, crazier, more twist. The killer twist is huge. So you can't take it too seriously because they're not taking it too seriously. With that said, I was a little put off by the amount of gore and violence. I mean, I don't know, watching a knife go into somebody like 50, 60 times.
Yeah.
I don't know if I need that. But again, they say that's what they're going to do. The jokes are here and there. The ending is pretty much what you'd expect. There's a big twist on killer. For what it is, and for what that franchise has done previously and before, is the formula a little old? Yes, it is. Where else are they going to go with this? I don't think anywhere. As long as people keep going to see this movies, I think they're going to keep kind of making the same thing over and over. But where Scream, the very first one, was inventive and original and a new twist on horror films, and there's been previous entries that seem like complete reboots. I'm going to say with Jenna Ortega, who, by the way, good actress. I've never seen that Wednesday show, or
it's not for me. So
it's not for me either. But she's very good. So is Melissa Barrera. So I'm going to go right down the middle and say, as far as the Scream entry goes, this gets a C for me. It's average. It's certainly passable.
Yeah, I think you said it best, but I think the first Scream was so just cool, just because it's almost like self-satirizing in such a fun way, where it's like, oh, they're doing like almost a satire, but at the same time, it's taking itself a little more seriously, so you've got like serious moments.
Yeah.
And then it just turned into the thing it was making fun of, and I was like, oh, so...
Yeah.
All right, there goes that awesome IP that just got trampled on. Yeah, and I'm just not a big slasher guy either. You know, I think Halloween is great, the OG one.
Yeah.
I've never seen any of the Friday the 13th movies. I have no want to. When they're good, they're good. But I think that when you get into the franchise machine, it's just like I'm.
Yeah, this is a franchise entry, but again, the fact that they can pull back and go, we know exactly what we're doing, and we're telling you we're doing it. I give them a little bit of credit for that. The other big film, semi-big film, I don't think it's doing very well at the box office, is the sci-fi action film 65. If you haven't heard of this, it stars Adam Driver, of course, from Marriage Story and the Star Wars franchise, and Ariana Greenblatt. She was also in The Heights, and I think she played young Gamora in the Avengers movies.
That's so random.
Written and directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods. Those guys were the writers of A Quiet Place, which was that big, huge hit for John Krasinski back then.
Good movie.
Great film. So very strong writers. Not really sure about the directing thing, though, here. This is Jurassic Park meets Aliens, meets Omega Man, meets After Earth with Will Smith. It's a really good idea. I don't think I'm giving away anything by saying that it doesn't involve time travel, but it does involve a story that would take place billions of years ago. The problem is it's riddled with cliches. They've got shots stolen exactly from Jurassic Park. Adam Driver and this little girl stranded on Earth during dinosaur time. And guess what, Jackson? There's little dinosaurs that are going to go after him. There's kind of medium velociraptor dinosaurs. Is there
one big one?
There's a maybe even more than one T-Rex.
Whoa.
And, you get the shot of the eye coming down, looking at them inside of, like a glass container. You've got the shots of the T-Rex behind a waterfall.
Yeah.
It's just so cliche-ridden. It's only about an hour and a half. The editing is really bad here. I don't know if there's any chemistry between the two of them, but it's never really established all that well. Is Adam Driver fine? He's good. I don't think he's the best action star out there. I think he tries to breathe as much life into this as he can. This movie's getting panned by critics. I expect a lot of people are going to have this on their top 10 worst list of the year.
Ooh.
I think that's a bit harsh. I think it's passable. I think it's fun enough at times if you're into just dinosaurs chasing people. But this is a slightly below average entry that I'm not going to say is horrible, but is not really worth your time. It gets a C- for me, 65. Go ahead.
Once you make Jurassic Park,
yeah,
you can't really do a dinosaur movie. It's like Jaws, After Jaws, it's like you can't do a shark movie because then everyone's like, oh, it's just Jaws again. It's the same You can't really do much else with the dinosaur concept, I feel like. It's just...
It kind of reminded me, a really good film came out last year. It was kind of a reboot of the Predator franchise called Prey, where it was all about, a predator comes down, but he comes down in the time of Native Americans. And it was actually really good and a really interesting twist on the franchise.
Yeah.
I think let's do Jurassic Park, but give a guy a laser gun and... make it like he's the last man on Earth type thing.
It's not strong enough.
It's not.
I don't think.
It's not strong enough. So, disappointing. But listen, don't rip it a new one. I've seen far worse, and I'm sure I'm going to see far worse this year.
Yeah.
Before we get into Jackson's pick this week, he picked a really funny film. We'll get into that in just a second. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's check in. It's Jackson's pretentious art house film corner. Jackson, what were you forced to watch or watched on your own this week?
So, first of all, keeping up with the Oscar theme, I did sit down and watch Coda from one of my classes.
You never saw Coda? Or had you seen it?
I never saw Coda.
It won
I had never seen it before.
Won the Academy Award for Best Picture last year. Coda. What are your thoughts?
Shockingly Hallmark.
Yeah, I really did not get Coda.
I did not like this movie at all.
was like, this is
I thought,
it was like a TV made for movie. I thought it was sweet. There were some performances that were nice and fine, but as an overall project, Jackson, wow, saccharine.
I just thought,
sweet.
especially the one thing I kept thinking of is that I think the Sound of Metal came out the year before and got snubbed. Yeah. And that is such a more complex and real look into what it's like to live in a deaf community.
Yeah.
Whereas this just felt like a high school coming of age story that just happened to have deaf people in it, but then it became a problem, so it was like also trying to... I was like, what is going on? It looked horrible. I don't know who DP'd this, but Jesus Christ.
It looks very amateurish.
It's
really...
Go ahead. That being said, I thought that the dad, I'm looking at the name right now.
Troy Kotsur.
Yes, Troy Kotsur had a great performance. I thought he was very funny. And I think
won the Academy Award.
I'm not mad at him for winning the Academy Award for that.
Yeah.
But I thought that the lead was a little bit rough. I thought the mom character was not very likable.
Marlee Matlin.
Just really... I don't know.
Marlee Matlin won the Academy Award decades ago for a movie called Children of the Lesser God. So she is
I have heard of that.
Previous Academy Award. Isn't it crazy? You're going to go Everything Everywhere All at Once won this year. You're going to go Coda won last year. And the year before that, you're going to go Nomadland. And the year before that, you're going to go Parasite. Which of those four movies do you think is going to disappear the quickest into the ether world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's already Coda. No, I haven't seen anybody talking about that movie.
Yeah. It's like the Green Book or Driving Miss Daisy of the Academy Award winners. I think I don't think they're going to stand the test of time very well.
No way. No way. I agree completely.
What do you give it?
I give Coda 3. Yeah. I was really not happy with that.
I concur.
I sat down and watched two documentaries. One of them was in class.
Okay.
I had to watch a movie called We Live in Public about some crazy guy who started an internet company and did this experiment where he locked a bunch of people in an underground bunker and had them under 24-hour surveillance.
That sounds horrible.
It was like a fine documentary. I think the subject really carried. I thought that the execution was a little rough. It was very early 2000s-y, so a lot of weird house music and fast cuts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It had some really great moments though, but overall I thought it was just fine. I give it a 6.
Oh wow, 6. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be a little lower than that.
No, it did have some really good moments, and the subject matter was very interesting. I also saw it down. I think this got some buzz when it came out back in 2017. I watched Icarus, directed by Brian Fogel.
Yeah, I saw that.
This is the story
Russian
of the guy
doping.
who starts a journey to try to prove that he can beat the doping mechanisms in bike racing and turns into a complete, I don't even know how you call it, government conspiracy, goose chase almost against this one Russian guy.
Yeah, the doping scandals. Yeah, when it kind of came into the Olympics and Russia got involved. Yep. I saw it. What'd you think?
No, definitely. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought that I love when documentaries start one way and then just kind of go with the flow and kind of turn into something completely different.
Yeah.
I thought that the Russian guy was super interesting subject. I loved watching him talk. Just a crazy story too of just how the Russians were pulling off these doping schemes and stuff, and how deep it really went. I thought was super interesting, and how important that is to their government as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought this was good. I don't think I loved it, but I was definitely interested. I'm gonna give it a 7.
Yeah, I remember enjoying it. I liked it. I did feel like the main guy was a little bit of a narcissist, like a little bit of, I don't know, just a little too into himself and his feats and whatnot. But I enjoyed it. Again, I don't know if it was a great documentary, but it was a great subject matter that I was interested in. Yeah. Sometimes you go like, I really am interested in this subject matter, but as far as a documentary goes, pretty cut and dry. Nothing, you go like, wow. Anything else? Anything else?
I did 2 rewatches, both movies you've seen. I rewatched High Fidelity with Brooke.
I love High Fidelity.
It was just that time, Sometimes you just gotta sit down and rewatch High Fidelity.
Now has she seen movie. High Fidelity?
No, it was her first time watching it.
And did she love it, hate it, in the middle? Did you get in an argument over it? You're like, what's wrong with you?
No, she liked it. She gave it a 7, so she didn't like it as much as I did. But she definitely liked it a lot. It's such a, God, it's so great. Jack Black is such a gem. And, it's just a really, I think that movie's incredible. I give it a 10.
I wish Jack Black would, I know he still does stuff, but I just think like his early work and his stuff with Tenacious D, and I just wish it was a bit more,
Destiny.
A little more cutting edge. I feel I get it. There's the Jumanji train, Money Train, and I just feel like some of the stuff he's done lately has just been a little too commercial. I would love to see him go back and do something really dark and twisted.
I think so too. I would be first in line for that as well.
Yeah. And what was the other rewatch?
And the night after Oscar night, me and Brooke sat down. I rewatched. She watched the first time, All Quiet on the Western Front, which, as we know, has kind of swept the technicals. So she was really interested in seeing it.
Gotcha.
Just as good as the first time.
Yeah.
I have nothing else to say. I just knowing what's coming is almost more difficult. Scene, especially that scene where his buddy is talking to the poster on the wall and he cuts it in half and takes it with him.
Yeah.
Oh man, your heart just sinks.
It's really good.
If you haven't seen it, please watch it.
I did not pick it to win Best Score. I thought Babylon was going to take that, but I was happy that All Quiet won Best Score.
I was very happy
that music,
it won Best Score as well.
That freaking bassoon or whatever it is
was so good. And then also just like even the quiet moments, just like the little like I just love that little piano bit, and you can hear him playing the keys, and it just feels very raw and good for the moment too. Yeah, because I think that's where me and you got confused, is because Babylon, I personally do not like the score for Babylon, but I think that it got a lot of buzz because it sounds good by itself. Right. I don't think it worked for the movie.
Yeah.
And I think that All Quiet's worked way better for the film.
Yeah. You would curl up and actually put on the soundtrack of Babylon and listen to it. I don't know if you would just listen to the score of All Quiet by itself.
Yeah, it works with the movie.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. Not a bad, again, maybe we have to rename this. I don't think that was the most pretentious art house film corner you've ever. They're starting to get a little more mainstream.
Yeah, I've definitely had worse. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say maybe this is Jackson's pretentious / slightly mainstream art house film.
Yeah.
Corner. But wait a minute. Maybe I'm talking too soon. Because Jackson was back in the driver's seat this week.
Hey, it's Steve McQueen.
Yep.
I wasn't too far off the beaten.
It was Jackson's chance to pick a classic film or a critically acclaimed film or a cult classic, whatever you want, something that neither one of us have seen that we revisit. Once again, these films could be from a week ago or 50 years ago. He picked one of the earlier films by director Steve McQueen, not the actor. This is the Academy Award-nominated director, Steve McQueen. His film, 12 Years a Slave, won the Oscar. He did not win director that year. He was nominated. He also did the movie Shame. One of his muses is Michael Fassbender. He's in pretty much every film that Steve McQueen does. He's the focus here of the movie, but really doesn't come into play until about halfway through the movie. I got to a point where I was like, where is Michael Fassbender?
Yeah, me too. I was like, where is he?
It was very odd. The movie kind of starts telling the story of two prisoners in a Northern Irish prison back in the 80s when IRA members were being swept up by the dozens, thrown into prison, and were seeking to be labeled as political prisoners instead of straight-up criminals, and then stage a large hunger strike. Michael Fassbender plays the real-life Bobby Sands, who was one of the leaders of the hunger strike, and he does eventually show up into the film, and wow, what a physical transformation Fassbender goes through this as he partakes in the hunger strike. I read up a bit. At first, I was like, this has to be CGI. No, in fact, Michael Fassbender did drop about 40 pounds for this thing. Really dangerous when actors do this. I think hopefully those days are over when we know so much can be done, like with CGI. You can make what's his name, Captain America, look skinny.
It's so much prestige comes when people do that I think we'll never escape that.
It's just so dangerous on your liver and your heart. Anyways, it's Jackson's pick. Before I give you all my thoughts on it, Jackson, what did you think of this early entry from Steve McQueen called Hunger?
Yeah, so I have never been interested in Steve McQueen's work, but I was talking to a buddy of mine who I'm actually going to see. It's Pi Day today, and so I'm going to Hollywood to see Pi.
Oh, Darren Aronofsky,
at the Chinese Theater. So I'll have a review for that next week. Okay. But I'm going to see them with that, and we were talking about directors and stuff, and he said, well, you've seen Steve McQueen's stuff, right? And I was like, no, I'm not. He did 12 Years a Slave, right? And I'm sure 12 Years a Slave is a great movie, but I think it's a very Oscar-baity movie, at least at face value, so I've never been that interested. Mm-hmm. But he was like, you need to watch his older stuff, because he is just a craftsman when it comes to directing. And I was like, all right, well, I'll do it. And so I picked Hunger this time around, because I think you've seen Shame. I still haven't seen it, but I think you have.
Shame is an interesting movie. Go on.
Yeah. And I hadn't heard anything about it when I picked this. I didn't know what the subject matter was. I knew very little about the situation in Ireland with the IRA and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Wow. I thought that in an era where it seems like historical pictures have kind of hit a rut sometimes, especially biopics, which you can kind of consider this is, considering that Fassbender is kind of the main topic, but it's really more of a historical piece. I think that this was such an original look and take on that idea. Mm-hmm. I thought that opening with the guard as opposed to, an inmate was a really smart idea too. I thought that choosing when to show the violence was really good too, because, at the first half of it is mostly just quiet, and you're just seeing the aftermath of bloody knuckles, the quiet cleaning, the sweeping of the floors, and then that oneer. Wow.
We're gonna talk about that.
I thought that this was a masterclass in directing, in acting, in editing, in how to do style well, and how to portray a story in an original manner without taking away from the subject matter. I thought that, I could just gush over this for hours. I thought this was a great, great, great film. I'd love to hear your thoughts, though.
Well, first off, when Jackson mentions a oneer, he's speaking of a scene between Michael Fassbender and another actor named Liam Cunningham, who most people will recognize from Game of Thrones. It is a prison visitation scene in which the two men sit across from a table, and by oneer he means the entire scene is shot in one take in one master, so there's no cuts. It's simply a shot of them facing each other, so it's profile to profile throughout the entire scene. I'll have some thoughts on that in a second. I agree with you as far as the directing goes, and there are some very interesting choices. I think half of them worked, and I think half of them got in the way of the film.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
I'd love to hear which ones got in the way.
Well, I'm going to start with the oneer.
What? That was the best part.
I was not a fan, and I think he did a great disservice to two amazing actors by not giving us a chance to see their eyes, to see their face. At the very end, and this is about a 10 to 12 minute scene that goes on between these two. It's written very great. You can tell that they're making some great choices, but watching two people act in profile, there's a moment at the very end of the scene where they finally cut out of that and show for just a brief moment a little bit of dialogue on Liam and on Michael Fassbender's faces, and it's the first time you really get to see what's going on. I do think that it's a choice to do some of it in a master. I think by shooting in a master like that in profiles, the words can sometimes weigh a little bit more because you're not seeing the performance. But as an actor, I think he did a bit of a disservice to them by doing the entire thing like that. I would have enjoyed it. I would have enjoyed it more if I got to see the performances. And I don't feel like I got to in that master. I also feel like I get the point, but it might have been the closing shot. I don't remember if it was, but there's the scene where the guy is sweeping urine from... It
was right after the oneer.
Yeah, he's sweeping all this urine through a hallway that the prisoners have been pouring under the cracks of the doors in protest. There's all these lines of cells of guys who are... smearing their feces all over the walls. And does it sound hilarious, by the way, guys? But there is this long single shot where we have, at first I'm like, we're going to watch him mop this entire hallway. And we do. And I think it loses some of its powerfulness after a while where you're like, okay, well, he's halfway down the hallway. I guess he's going to continue to do it.
I literally can't disagree with you any more than I can right now. I think that.
When I see that, I see the director's choice, and now I'm taken out of the film. Now I'm like, oh, the director has put the camera there, and he's going to just let this happen. And for me, it just takes me out of the film a little bit.
I think that, and this is no offense to you, I think that you're looking at this too much from an actor's perspective, which is fine.
Right.
But the performance is only a piece of the puzzle. It's like
a huge.
It is a big one, but it's only a piece of the puzzle.
Right.
Where you put the camera, the way a scene is lit, the composition.
Right.
Those all have to come together to create a message.
And I think
what I got from that is that there's the whole time you can see the clear divide between the two people, and they have these two similarities, and they're trying to find a way to connect. And it's not until the end when they finally do cut to the close-up that you see them kind of realizing that we do have these differences and there's nothing we can do about it, and we just have to accept that this is the way things are. Then we get to the piss scene right after. And after a 12-minute scene of just pure dialogue, I think that was a very necessary breath of fresh air to let it sink in while you still get the message that he wants to show of, like, these are horrible conditions.
Yeah.
You get the dialogue of Margaret Thatcher playing over it, which, by the way, super glad that she's rotting in a hole right now. I just think that was a really, really, really smart move on his end in every way.
Okay. I will agree with you that maybe I'm looking at it from the perspective of an actor, but you have to give me something. I think you're looking at it more as a perspective of a DP and a cinematographer. And listen, some of the stuff he does is fantastic. I love all the imagery at the beginning with the bleeding knuckles and the kind of flash forward and flash back, and we see how that happens. I like a lot of the stuff that happens between the two. I love all the stuff with the two prisoners in the cell, kind of finding a way to live in this hell together. And I do think the movie did take a weird turn. I feel like it started with these two main characters in this cell, and then right halfway we get introduced to Michael Fassbender, and then those two guys go away. And now the story becomes about Bobby Sands. And I felt that was a little bit of a jump, and I felt a little disjointed there. Like, okay, now everything is about Fassbender, and I don't even know what happened with those two guys. That threw me a little bit. Now, I'm nitpicking, and I'm telling you, there's still aspects of this film I really enjoyed. Is it grotesque? Yes. Do I think maybe we have one too many long dolly shots of shit smeared on the walls? Yeah, but I get it. I mean, I get what he's doing, but it's still a very, very tough film to watch. It leaves you feeling really down. I mean, it is. I mean, not saying it's not an important story. I'm not saying it's not done well, but it is a really, really tough watch. There are scenes, though, that are more powerful for me. For example, the scene in the old folks' home where the security guard goes to visit his mom and something erupts. That hit me hard. It was edited well. It came out of nowhere. That I thought was a powerful moment. Obviously, the last 20 minutes of the movie, watching Fassbender go through this slow process of dying from hunger, some of that was beautiful imagery, especially when he's hallucinating and seeing things. I love the stuff with his parents who just don't know what to do or not. So there are aspects of this film I think are fantastic. That's why I'm really split on this. I can't. I would recommend it to somebody who's really into auteur filmmaking because it's really done well, even though some of it does not work for me. I'm going to give Hunger a B-.
Ooh. Yeah.
Listen, I have to look at it as a whole, and there are A+ elements of this, and there are elements that I thought were a little pretentious, and I'm seeing the filmmaker now, and I'm not in that world anymore. I'm seeing more of the filmmaking than I am the film.
Man, that's crazy.
It's still B- is still a good. It's
Yeah, I know. I hear you and I understand where you're coming from. I just don't agree. Like I think it's just a preference thing. I think that as someone who doesn't direct usually ever, I think it takes a lot for me to look at a movie and go, "Oh, that had good directing." I think that this did it, where I was like, I can understand. Like it's like he's performing surgery. It's just like everything is cut together so perfectly. Every moment seems like it's so necessary. That I think that this is just a masterclass in directing.
I would hope that there is. I wish there was a version of that scene, the one off the master, where it was done with POVs and then cut. A little more. I'm not saying. I'm not saying standard and bland. I'm saying I wish if we had seen a bit more of them. I think it could have been a bit more. Listen, even if you're watching two actors on a stage doing a play, okay, there's not going to be any cuts. There's not going to be any, but they're still going to make sure that they're turned out to the audience so you can see their faces. I think that was a bit of a disservice to the actors. It's just,
I just disagree. I just disagree. Hunger's gonna get a 9 out of 10 from me. I think this is pretty damn good. I'm very excited to watch the rest of his work. I'm gonna try to find time to at some point.
Yeah, especially
especially Shame because Fassbender's in that as well.
Yeah, Shame. I'm mixed on that. I'll be curious if you ever see that. And 12 Years a Slave I remember being a very good film. I couldn't tell you one scene in the movie right now, so it did not stick with me. It did not stick with me. I don't remember when it won the Academy Award and me going, oh, I think that was a year I was almost ambivalent. Like, well, if that wins, it was a very, very good film.
I've heard that's kind of been his trajectory is kind of, he came off really heavy with like Hunger and Shame, and they were very like prominent, and then 12 Years a Slave was still got the critical acclaim, but it was more of like an Oscar movie. Yeah. And then now he's kind of playing it more safe with this new TV show he's doing. So I don't know. I hope he finds.
What's the TV show? Do we know?
I'll tell you right now. I can pull
it up. Look that up, young Jamie. While young Jamie's researching Steve McQueen's next TV show or next project, I'll let you know that next week is the time that we turn over the choice.
Small Axe.
It's called Small Axe? I don't know that.
It's an Amazon original. It's a mini-series.
Oh. I wonder if it's out.
I think it's like little vignettes, like little vignette episodes.
I started watching some show that you recommended last night. Everyone was asleep in the house, and I think it was on Netflix. It's a comedy show that I remember you liked. It's like also sketch comedy.
I Think You Should Leave.
Yes, I Think You Should Leave. I watched the first couple episodes of that.
Yeah.
I liked it.
It's not your thing. I think it's not your thing.
No. I thought some of the sketches were actually pretty funny. I wonder if they're all going to be like that because it was all.
They're all going to be like that.
Tim Robinson It was a lot of him in uncomfortable. It was the comedy of uncomfortable. Like, I'm at a job interview and the door doesn't open that way. I'm at a party and I can tell he doesn't like my gift. I'm on an airplane and I was the baby I'm uncomfortable. So, but I thought it was done really well. I love seeing my old buddy Will Forte on there, and I thought Steven Yen was fun. So I might check that. That's a Netflix show. I think you might.
Yeah, season 3 is actually coming out soon.
Yeah. I liked it. They were short. Like each episode was like 15, 20 minutes, and I'm like, that's plenty of time for sketch comedy. Was
there a sketch you can remember that stuck out to you specifically? That you were like, oh, that was really well done, or you thought it was especially funny?
I thought they all were. I've only seen 2 episodes, so I would say the one that there was one. There was one about like a guy walking around seeing motorcycles. And then he saw a car, which was like, it's 2 motorcycles with a house in the middle. And I was like, okay, I get the concept. But then he was in space in a ship, and he's like, you guys, there was a bunch of bikers in space, and then they all come down to Earth.
It gets a little Tim and Eric-y sometimes.
Yeah, it was very Tim and Eric. And I thought that one was a miss for me for whatever reason. I was like,
I don't even remember that one. So that one
it's probably one.
There are hits and misses, but when it hits, oh my God. You haven't gotten there yet, and I won't spoil it, but there's a scene where he's backing out of a parking space, and I do not think I've laughed harder at a sketch in my life. I think it's so funny.
All right, what's it called? I think I just watched.
I think you should leave.
I think you should leave. Yeah. All right, I'll keep watching. They're short, so I don't mind. I can watch those quickly.
They're real tiny.
Because I don't want.
Speaking of shows, just because we're talking about this, me and Brooke are making our way through BoJack Horseman right now. Animated Netflix series starring Will Arnett and Aaron Paul.
I don't watch cartoons.
And a couple other big hitters. You don't, but it's really well done. I will say. We're halfway through season 2 right now. It's got some really, really great moments in it. And it's also one of those ones you can just put on whenever because it's a short. So just kind of.
I think an old buddy of mine. Scott Chernoff, might write for that show, for some reason.
Really?
Yeah. I'll have to email him and see if that's. I don't know. I can't remember who's working on what that I've met or been friends with before.
Too many people.
Too many people. I'm a wheeler and dealer. Did you see all my pictures? Did you see all my pictures from the Vanity Fair party afterwards? I was the belle of the ball.
Getting crazy.
Yeah, that was me running the In-N-Out truck. At 2 a.m. If I hear one more celebrity talk about, you know what I'm most excited about tonight is I'm gonna finally, after starving myself for 6 months, have an In-N-Out burger at the Vanity Fair party. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Jesus Christ.
You can go get In-N-Out whenever you want, you pretentious.
Did you see? This is another awesome one viral. It was an interview with oh God,
Hugh Grant.
Yes, Hugh Grant.
Yes,
thank you.
I did.
What did you think about that?
I thought he was a bit of a dick, but I don't care. I mean,
I thought he was, but I don't really care. And to be honest, she was asking the same question he's probably been hearing all night.
Yeah.
Like, what are you wearing? Who do you want to see? Well, I think I would have been.
Part of me goes, listen, the game, you signed up for it, that's what's coming. No one's going to walk up and go, hey, how's your son doing? Tell us about his Little League game. It's going to be, what are you wearing? Who are you most excited to see? What's it like being at the Oscars? I get it's going to be that. You look, you got to sign up. You play the game. You go to bat.
That's true. That is true.
But with that said, sometimes you're just having a piss poor day. And he's British. We forgive the British for everything.
We do. Someone made a comment too. I thought was funny where they said like if Aubrey Plaza had done the same thing, like it would have killed. Like it would have been a really great bit on her end. I was like, that's pretty funny.
Man, she's the it girl right now. That Aubrey Plaza. She's like all over the place. She's in that new Guy Ritchie movie that I haven't been able to bring myself to go see. Operation
It seems like he's
Fortune.
not doing a Guy Ritchie movie in some weird way. Like it seems like it's not a Guy Ritchie movie, but I mean it is. Like
well, no, the new one is Operation Fortune, which is in theaters right now. I just haven't gone to see. But the next one, The Covenant, I think is the one you're talking about, the military one. That one looks completely different.
Yes, that's what I was talking about. Okay.
Yeah. No, he's got one out right now that you probably haven't even heard of. It's like
I have not even heard of that.
Yeah, it's called Operation Fortune Ruse de something in French, and they snuck it out. It's supposed to be horrible.
Yeah.
I also didn't see Champions this week. That's that Woody Harrelson one where he's coaching a special ed.
I didn't even hear about that
basketball game. Yeah, I don't know, maybe. As far as next week goes, though. Jackson, I mentioned just a second ago, we turn now to the fans to pick a movie for us to watch. This is a classic film or a critically acclaimed film, something that you want us to see that you thought was fantastic. This is a great movie that we are asking. And we are going to see a movie recommended by actually an old high school buddy of mine, John Filippone, or John Filippone. I always thought it was John Filippone. But now I'm questioning. It's been so long since I've seen or talked to him.
Wow.
But it's John Filippone. John, if you're out there,
we're not good of friends, huh?
Yeah. Well, we were acquaintances in high school. I don't think we were like best buds, but he was always a good dude, and have kept in touch through the social interweb over the years. He recommended a Western, Jackson. We have not watched a Western.
Oh, wow.
I know,
okay.
in a long time. This is a Netflix movie that came out a couple years ago. Critics raved about it. It stars I think one of the best character actors of our generation who does not get enough credit. His name is Tim Blake Nelson. You would know him from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
I never saw that. He was Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Yeah,
okay.
Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
I've seen that.
Yes, Tim Blake Nelson, who's one of our most underappreciated actors. He always does amazing work. This is a movie called Old Henry, directed by someone, and wait for this name, Jackson, Patsy Panzaroli. Patsy Panzaroli.
That's a crazy name.
Yeah. The movie is Old Henry. It got really good reviews, and John said it's one of those films that just was under the radar and is a great, great throwback Western. I'm hit and miss with Westerns. They're the ones that are great, I think, are
Me
fantastic. Too. I love, obviously, Unforgiven and Outlaw Josie Wales and Silverado. So, I have my Westerns that I enjoy if they're done well.
I haven't seen enough of them, to be honest, to get the last one I saw was The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and I wasn't the biggest fan.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little long, and obviously it was in 3 different languages, so I was just, confused the whole time,
Yeah,
because I didn't know that was supposed to be the deal.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what's happening?
What? Are they in Italy? Are they in Colorado? I don't know what the hell's going on. This movie's called Old Henry, available on Prime Video, so we are going to watch that this week. And opening next week in the theaters, brace yourself, ladies and gentlemen, reviews of Shazam Fury of the Gods. The second installment of Shazam is opening. I have a feeling Jackson may or may not be seeing that, even though we'll see how much. We're going to see how much he cares about his fans. Good news, though. Good news also opening next week is the Willem Dafoe movie Inside.
Oh, nice. Okay, score.
Yeah, which is a smaller independent movie that's already been nominated for Best Film at the Berlin Film Festival early here in 2023. We'll see if it.
Good on Willem for continuing to do those, because I feel like he's such a well-known figure where he could very easily fall into like a blockbustery type thing.
Well, don't get me wrong. He was the bad guy in Aquaman. He's was in Speed 2.
He was the bad guy in Spider-Man.
Yes, and the bad guy in Spider-Man. So he was in.
Well, he does, but you need those to do the little things, and I'm glad that he still does, because he could very easily not do that. So.
Yeah, I have no problem. I love when an actor he'll go off and do Speed 2, but then he'll turn around and do The Lighthouse. So.
No, same. I love when people do that.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe, one of the best actors of our generation. So Inside looks interesting. And then Jackson and I 100% will have a review for you as well next week of the new Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin movie, Moving On, which looks absolutely adorable. Just when you thought 80 for Brady was enough to fill your old lady movie.
Oh, no. We're keeping it
thirst.
going.
I don't think either one of us is seeing Moving On with Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin. I don't know. Maybe I'll get bored. I will try to drag myself to Shazam, though. I'm definitely seeing Inside. I hope Jackson sees at least Inside. And we're going to check out Old Henry as well. And there you have it. That's our post-Oscar show. I had a buddy call me, not call me, to direct message me, DM me online and said, hey, man, I'm going to the theater tonight. What do you recommend? Is there anything worth seeing? And I went, And the best I could
show any reruns?
I said the best one you can come with, and I thought it was fine, was Creed 3. So we are still in the dark ages, right?
Yeah, we're really trudging through here.
It's rough going out there right now, but
yeah.
I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed for Inside with Dafoe next week, and
I am too. I'm very excited for that. Anything, especially it's a solo performance basically with just him. So I'm very excited to see what he does with that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and he played Jesus Christ. Did you ever see The Last Temptation of Christ?
I didn't
either. I think I've seen scenes from it, like flipping around on cable, and it didn't grab me. And you know the story. I mean, we know it.
Yeah, I bet. Listen, I bet something really crazy happens.
I know what happens to him. Spoiler alert: he rises from the dead.
Oh man, yeah. Who directed that? Was that
Martin Scorsese? Yeah,
I was gonna say. I thought so. That seems like a weird one for him. I don't know why.
Yeah, no. Well, that's Scorsese. That's the way he is. He had to suddenly.
Yeah, that's true.
He has a thing about religion. He's very fascinated by religions, and he's done a few.
Really?
He's done a few movies where religion is kind of the center of the topic. How are you? You coming? You got spring break. We're gonna see you for a day or two, maybe. Your mother is very, very mad at you. Very, very mad.
I am almost positive I told you guys that I was on set for the first half of break.
Here's what I'm doing. I'm assuming I'm never going to see you again. So when I do get to see you, because you are always on a set or filming or you got a project with buddies and look, I completely understand it. But here's the thing I gotta keep reminding ourselves is we can drive down and see you anytime.
Yeah.
In fact, we can do it unannounced. I could show up at your door whenever I want.
Yeah, you could just. Yeah.
Right? You're cool with that?
Yeah, you're close.
You're cool? Just any time of day, night?
And that's going to be our show today, guys. Thank you guys for joining us. It's the Parental Guidance Neglected.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Maybe I'm outside your door right now. Maybe I've recreated this entire elaborate set.
Just a big green screen.
Just a big old between two ferns fake out. I'm actually in the White House.
I missed that show.
All right. Well, it's your spring break next week. We hope to see you a little bit in between.
You will for sure.
In between your massive shoots. But until then, we'll figure it out. Next weekend or Monday or Tuesday, we'll be back to you with a brand new episode of PGN Podcast. We promise we're going to do our best. Unless, of course, Jackson has to hold a microphone over a whale on a set off the shores of San Diego. Did I just spoil it? Did I just tell you he's doing The Whale 2?
God damn it.
The Whale.
Yeah, there goes my career.
It's actually about a whale, though. All right. Until then, I think that's it, buddy.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, we'll catch you guys next time. Love you.
Love you, buddy. Peace out.